Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. This is BucketPonds. My name is Terry, and today we are taking a second look at the Snail Paradise Paludarium. It occurred to me that I did not show you the pets all that much in the first video, so I wanted to fix that, walk you through some of the snails and the Tubaflex worms and some of my other pets in there. I also talk about why I keep these pets, and I talk about the hobby a little bit, as well as the current state of YouTube in relation to fake aquariums that people make and get tons of views, and it really bugs me. So for now, let's jump right in and look at the tank. Hey guys, what's up? This is BucketPonds, and my name is Terry. Recently I built that new Paludarium, and it just occurred to me that I barely even showed the snails. The whole main feature of the aquarium, of the project. So here is a pond snail. You see it just took in a massive air bubble there. And they're pretty big compared to bladder snails. They're kind of meaty, kind of chubby. And you can see that their antenna is a bit different. But he's just cruising along there. Here's a friendly bladder snail for comparison. You can see he has longer antenna and generally a similar shape, but kind of a more narrow foot, a more narrow body shape. Also, their shells coil on different sides. The bladder snails are left-handed, I believe, and the pond snails are right-handed, so that's another way to tell them apart. But they're cohabitating inside of this awesome paludarium that we built. And you can see we have quite a few Paramecium. They seem to be occurring in all of my projects without any effort at all. If you're out there trying to raise Paramecium, pick up on some of my methods here, because I can raise Paramecium very easily. They require no effort. I don't do anything. I didn't mean to have this many. This tank has only been running for about a week now, and I did not include this many to start with. Apparently they reproduce very, very quickly. Alright, here's an example of the Tubaflex worms interacting with the bladder snails. Now once again, the bladder snails will eat something if they can get a hold of it, but generally most creatures will move. I'm curious if they're actually going to eat the Tubaflex worms here. It doesn't look like they're going to hurt each other at all. The Tubiflex worms, supposedly they eat bacteria and particles in the water, but I know for a fact that my Tubiflex will directly eat cucumber. If you put cucumber in the tank, they'll climb over on it and eat it. That's got me thinking of some new ideas too for fun projects in the future. But yeah, the Tubiflex worms interacting with the snails. Like I said, I actually didn't show the snails much in the original setup video, so I have to fix that. You know, you have to know what this tank is for. This is my resurrected Paludarium, built from the old pond in a jar fish tank. Well, pond in a jar snail tank. You'll see in the first video about this, this resurrected build here, what happened to the old pond in a jar aquarium. But it's gone, and we have to keep going, so we've created this. The new Paludarium. I put it together over just a day and got it set up, added my creatures, everything went really smoothly. But you can see that in the previous video. Here we're just looking at the creatures inside. I want to show you what a real biodiverse ecosystem looks like when done, in my style. There's a lot of people out there who will cram a bunch of stuff into a jar and like, oh look, oh my god, it's not real, This is real. But people want to watch videos where you put some sand in a tank, you throw like some plants in there, and oh look, I made an aquarium. And then that tank fails the next day, it's overgrown with algae, it doesn't work. But no one cares, because that first video got 49,000 views. And I think that's just bad. That's just lying to people. Like I could put all this stuff in an ecosphere and be like, oh look at my massive biodiverse ecosphere, blah blah blah. It doesn't count for squat until 2 years into the project, This is an open aquarium, of course. But my point still stands, this is a real, homemade DIY ecosystem built using anything, stuff anybody can find. The creatures and the plants, it took me a while to get to where I could, like, capture these things and breed them at home and do all sorts of fun stuff like that. But it is doable, this is a hobby that other people can get into. And I think it's an amazing hobby. Micro pets, whatever you want to call it. They're tiny little creatures, and they're all different, and they interact with each other in unique ways. There's a beautiful bladder snail just cruising around. He's eating something. I'm not sure what he's doing, climbing onto that plant there. But you can tell from his shell, it's got that metallic, really hard shine to it. That's a very healthy snail. He doesn't have any calcium issues. And at the same time, I'm not adding any kind of supplements to the water, nothing like that. I don't give them any special snail food. I don't spend any money on these tanks. I just get a cucumber, slice it up, feed them some cucumber slices here and there. They're very happy. And that goes from my Tubaflex worms, the Paramecium that you see, Paramecia, the bladder snails, the Ostracods, everything in here, including the pond snails, everything in here eats, cucumber slices. And I think that's important to talk about because people think of Tubiflex, they think of like sludge worms, like sewer worms. And, my species is not that exact species. The ones I have here were wild collected originally. Who knows when? Could have been a long time ago. But they showed up in one of my, quote, domesticated pond aquariums that I built in the house here. They just appeared one day when I turned the heat way up. And now they're living. They're everywhere. I can move them around. I've got them in 2 or 3 tanks now. But they eat cucumber slices. They're cucumber worms at this point. And I think that's important to talk about because, they make interesting pets in my opinion. The snails, of course. Like, I don't see how you can't look at a bladder snail and just love him. I mean, just look at this big drunken, they're not that big, but with the macro lens, they're pretty big, especially compared to the other creatures. But he's just bulldozing stuff and just cruising around. Like, that's just awesome to me. And then you have the massive Paramecium swarm in the background, which I might actually have to pull some of them out of here. I think the Paramecium may be related to a cloudy water issue that I've been experiencing in some other aquariums. So for now, this tank is a little bit of an experiment, and this is live speed. This is not sped up or anything. This is just how fast things happen in here. But this is a little bit of a test to see, how can I control my tanks a little better and work in these Tubaflex worms into my own projects, my own snail aquariums. I love raising my little white worms, my detritus worms, and they're in here as well, but you just can't see them because of all of the Paramecium. There's not very many of them. But they are in here, and I enjoyed raising them quite a bit and learning about how to culture them and stuff, and it was really great. It's a lot of fun, and I do still have access to them in my other tanks. But those are my small white detritus worms, which if you've seen my videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. But elsewhere, I am looking for a larger worm species, and coincidentally, a larger species showed up in one of my other projects. Now, I am filming this with a $5 macro lens from China. That might be an important distinction as well. If you plan on getting into this hobby, I would suggest a macro lens. You don't have to have a fancy camera or spend a lot of money. Odds are you'll do fine with just your own, your normal phone you use and maybe one of these clip-on macro lenses. But yeah, if you're raising these nano creatures, you might want to look into some equipment to see them better. Now, I have a lot of plans for these guys in the future. In this tank, there's still only a few of them. I only included a few to start with. Apparently, the Paramecium breed very, very, very fast, followed by probably the detritus worms, and then the Tubaflex worms here. Excuse me. Yeah, the Tubaflex seem to take about 3 weeks to double their numbers, and I'm excited to see that happen in this tank. It hasn't been going long enough yet. But I'm about to chop up some cucumbers and feed everything. And yeah, we're going to increase the number of creatures in here organically. We're going to feed them, we're going to take care of them, keep them warm, and grow us up a big old mass of beautiful wild type Tubaflex worms. And I have a great deal of ideas about how to work with them in future videos and better things to do with them. We're going to have a lot of fun with these guys. This is what it's all about. You might ask yourself, like, why would someone do this? Why are you excited about these worms? Why do you want to grow these creatures and reproduce them? And, well, the first reason was live fish food. Those Paramecium, they're great fish food for fry, for small guppies, and things of that nature. But moreover, like the Tubaflex worms, look at them, they're eating cucumber. We have a clip of them eating cucumber right now. They're going down there, reaching out for it, grabbing it, and munching on it. And that's just cool. You know, these aren't necessarily fish food anymore. These are like my pets themselves. I want to see them flourish and do really well. And more importantly, I want to build worlds that they can enjoy and thrive in. You might have heard the term world building in science fiction. Well, for me, it also applies to like aquariums. You know, like when I build a tank, I'm not going to just clean it up and change it next week. I'm not going to dump it out and forget about it. You know, this tank is forever. This tank is until it cannot sustain life anymore, at which point it will be cleaned, resurrected, rebuilt, and done better the next time. That's my method. But I am grateful to share this stuff with you, and I'm trying to get more people into this hobby. We need a better word for it. Like, it's not vermiculture. There's a word for raising snails too for agriculture, but that's not what we're doing. We're raising these creatures for fun and to learn. That's a big thing. We're learning by doing, by studying live animals here. And obviously I'm not applying those methods to fish or any larger creatures, you know. But these worms, these guys are great. And you can see from my previous videos that whether or not you agree with my methods and the way that I do things, you can't argue with the results. Like, there's a lot of people out there right now struggling to raise Paramecium. There's a lot of people out there struggling to raise similar little worms. And here we can do it without much effort at all. You know, I built this tank in a day. I feed them some cucumbers once a week. I leave it in the window. I don't apply any thermal regulation. I don't do anything like that. And it's doing really well. I think too many people have been poisoned by the pet trade, the industry, you know, the aquarium industry, PetSmart, pet shops. You know, a lot of those places are cool. But at the same time, they make money by selling you stuff that you don't need. And by, you know, encouraging you to spend money when you shouldn't. Like, say you're going to get some fish. You don't need expensive foreign fish from who knows where. No, there's beautiful freshwater fish right here in the United States that you could have in your tank, and you could learn about them, and you could learn about your own continent where you live, and, you know, teach others, and promote things that are actually, you know, supposed to be in your area. If these creatures escaped from my aquarium, no big deal. They live here anyway. The pond snails, they're supposed to be Pan-Arctic. I don't see them in my area, so I keep them indoors. But anything else I keep here, it's pretty much all native, you know. That's one of the beautiful things of this hobby is most of my species are North American, like all day. And actually a lot of my views come from overseas. So I don't know if people overseas are interested in like how Americans do weird aquarium stuff. But am I really even an aquarium guy at this point? I don't think so anymore. I don't think I ever was. You know, I see my competition on YouTube, they build beautiful aquariums, and I'm so jealous. But at the same time, I'm not going to maintain that tank. I'm not going to do all that work required. I'm not going to check pH. I never check pH. What pH is this water? I don't know. What temperature is it? Kind of warm. But you can laugh if you want to. You can call me dumb. You can do whatever you want. But my creatures are still alive, and my tanks are still running. So, yeah. Apparently you don't need to check pH every other day or every 2 hours. And you don't need to go to the pet shop and run down there every time something happens. Like, you need to think for yourself. Yeah. There's a reason that PetSmart doesn't sell sponge filters, for instance. Or Walmart, as a better example. Walmart's aquarium section is a joke. Like, there are some tanks there. You can buy yourself a 10-gallon aquarium, or you could buy one of these. Now, I shouldn't rip on Walmart too much. This style of aquarium here, this is a aquaculture kit for 2.5-gallon aquariums. It comes with like a triangle-shaped aquarium with a lid and a light and some other junk. Take all the other junk out, throw it away. Right? Keep the little tank though. It's cool. But yeah, you don't need the gravel they sell at Walmart. You don't need those filter pads. You know, there may be reasons why you might want that stuff. But in a nature aquarium like this is a miniature pond. This is not a big old fish tank with an arowana in it. You know, there's no reason to have a filter in here. There's no reason to do anything other than observe nature and allow it to run and to, you know, feed the creatures occasionally. And that's the biggest thing in my opinion. You know, screw all that, the entire section over there. Grab one of these tanks, walk over to the produce section, buy yourself a couple cucumbers, And then find a way to get yourself some bladder snails. They're incredibly tough. They're durable. I've ordered bladder snails in the mail 3 times from eBay over the years, and no problems. They always arrive living, happy. Boom, they start breeding as soon as they get in the water. So order yourself some bladder snails, get yourself a little tank. Like I said in the previous video, this is Home Depot sand. This is a large boulder, I think it's granite. And there's some marble chunks and stuff in there. But all these plants I've collected from outside. You could probably go to a pond and just get you a good scoop of that stuff. But, you know, still be careful and wash your hands and all that. But my point is that you don't need the big pet shop budgets and all that junk to do tanks like this and to have fun. And to build yourself, like, interesting little worlds. Now, your friends won't understand. People will ask, why do you have so many snails? Like, why are you so weird? But screw them, you know. That's okay. They're curious. It's not wrong. But what it's about is just having fun. Getting yourself some cool pets. And doing something that other people aren't doing. You know, when I feed this tank, my room smells like fresh cucumbers for like half a day. It's amazing. And, yeah. I love these projects. I've showed you the creatures now. You've seen a bunch of them. I'm very happy to share them with you. If you're so inclined, go ahead and name all the snails and do anything you want. You can see a lot more eggs here. We're going to have baby snails very soon. We're going to have double, triple, quadruple our Tubiflex populations here pretty soon too. The Paramecium, they're probably going to take over everything. The entire water column would just be Paramecium squirming around. We'll try to prevent that from happening. But if you're having trouble with raising any of these creatures, go ahead and get on my my Facebook group and just talk. Say, hey guys, you know, what am I supposed to do here? I'll try to help you out, and if I can't help you, which I can't help a lot of things, you know, but if nothing else, I'll point you in the right direction. I'll help you research about it. You know, we'll get into it together. And to the very kind fan who's been emailing me about capturing some ram's horn snails, we need to talk a little bit, because that's awesome. Remember, though, if we ship anything, it has to be shipped legally. Please research how to ship things legally and all that good stuff, you know. Well, alright guys, that's part 2 for the Snail Paradise Paludarium. My name is Terry, and this is BucketPonds. I hope you enjoy the video. Please like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot, and it doesn't cost you anything. I'm also a busy guy. My work schedule is like full-time, and I gotta do it. But with your support, with more subscribers and more attention on these videos, I might be able to do this full-time one day in the future. And that means you'll get tons of pets and plants and all sorts of content. So please like, subscribe, support my channel, help me out a little bit, and I appreciate it. So thanks for watching. If you enjoy the content, I have a ton of other videos on my channel. And if you make some of this stuff yourself, if you set up a little aquarium, or maybe you take pictures, I'd love to see it. I want to see your work, and I love incorporating your ideas into my own projects. So thanks a bunch, and I'll see you again soon.